Hi, we are Team ChattyCzar and we have worked on a chat application for this project. Now, to give a brief introduction, a project basically focuses on implementation of a chat application which can be used over the internet or the intranet. Now, in order to uh, you know see the development of this project, we have used three different cases which are used to modify the project. Firstly, we have used Socket for this project for the communication part, as Socket is one of the easiest mode of communication over different networks, and also it's a part of our curriculum, so we thought of implementing the same. Now Ravi will take over and proceed further.
Thank you, George. And I'm going to talk about network connection. As you can see here in the diagram, this is our architecture diagram which shows the client-server architecture. As for the we have learned everything about sockets in the class, so I'm going to just talk about how we're using sockets in our project. To communicate between client and server, we're using sockets using Java API. So we're creating a socket in Java and the client gets registered to the socket, and using ports we are able to communicate between client and server and pass messages and various other data in binary format. I would like Ganesh to continue over the next slide.
Thank you, Ravi. This is Ganesh here. Let me explain a simple basic client-server application. What we've done is the server is actually waiting for a request on a particular port. The client that wants to communicate with the server goes to that particular port and sends a request. The server, which is actually waiting for the request, accepts that request from the client, and thus the connection is being established. Let me demonstrate this with a demo here. First, let me open the server part. This is a code that we've written that's running on the port 222, as you can see here. And the name for the server that we are given is Echo Server. And now we are running the server, the port. And mainly we have used NetBeans to run this application. And now we're running the file. Now the server is waiting, ready to accept any request that comes to the port 222. And now this is the code that we run for the client. And as you can see, client is looking for the port 222 so that it can send a message. And now we are running the code for the client. And the connection has been successfully established between the client and the server. The client sends a hi to the server. The same message has been received in the server. And the server responds now, hi, how are you? And the same message has been received in the client side, as you can see. Now again, a simple chat. We'll be demonstrating a chat between two parts. And now that message has been again received in the client part. Now suppose we are done an OK as a trigger word that cuts down the connection. As you can see now, the client has typed OK and the connection has been successfully disconnected. And now let's move on to the next case, that is a file upload. Basically that's what everyone wants. It's like they want to always send some file because that's a backup they want. We thought let's go with do that with a socket. Here the server is actually waiting at the port and the connection is been established in a similar way that we had done for the previous part. The client reads the file and sends the content over the socket. Server receives all this content and transfers that to its own file so that it's a backup to that. Let me demonstrate that with a video here. And now the server is running at the port 777, as you can see here. And now let's show where it is being backed up. And what we have done is we are slightly changing the name of the file so that we know that's a backup file and that's output file. And this is where the file is being saved. Now we are running the file so that the server is waiting at the port 777. And now comes the client part. This is a code that we have written. And similar to the previous thing, this client connects to the port 777. And the input to the file is this part, the hi as a file, that's the input file that we'll be sending to the server soon. And before running the client, let's see what's inside the folder. So first let's move on to the server folder. It's empty here, nothing in the folder. And now let's see what is the input file. Now that's a client folder. That is where we are picking up the file. It has a file known as hi. The contents are hello world. We'll be transferring the same contents will be transferred to the server. In the meanwhile, you can see that. Now let's run the client. Once the client is running, you can get a successful information saying that the file has been transferred, as you can see in below bottom screen. Now let's see the folder where it has been uploaded. Now let's move to the server folder. Previously there was no file there, but now there's a file with output name, and the contents has been successfully transferred. Thus we can say the file has been successfully transferred between the client and the server. And now Akash will be demonstrating the case 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh. I'm Akash and I would be discussing the key here. The case is all about the implementation of a multi-threaded client-server chat application using synchronization. Here we basically create a separate thread for each client, and the thread opens input and output streams for every particular client. And when we are trying to interact with each client, we are having a thread array to create all these threads. And this thread array is however shared by all the threads of the same server, and this portion of the code is also called the critical section, because if it is uncontrolled, may cause unexpected behavior such as null point exceptions that I would be showing you in a demo shortly. These exceptions will close abnormally, which could cause a lot of trouble to the server or to the client end. To avoid such kind of exceptions, the threads may be synchronized so that they execute the critical portion of the code sequentially, and thus without creating a situation of interleaving within the code. When a thread enters the synchronized this statement, the statement verifies if there's any first code or any other code that is already any other synchronized this statement running, or if it's not being there, it executes the other thread. If there's already such a thread that is already existing there in the code, then it tries to execute that thread first, and all the other threads are forced to wait until the current running thread is terminated. Well, we'll move on to the demo where you could actually see the actual functioning of the code. Sorry. So yeah, here in this video you would actually see the implementation of the whole case 3 that I've been talking about. Yeah, here this is the code for the multi-threaded chat server, where I would be showing you the port number that's been given out from the server. That's the default port, and then I would also show you the synchronize this code block where the actual synchronization is taking place and how all the threads are being synchronized to interact with each other. There you go. So that's the while loop that actually is being used for the synchronization. And now I would be going down a little more to show you the complete synchronized code. That's where you can actually that's where is the critical section of the entire code. We are considering that to be the critical section here. And now I'm going to open the multi-threaded chat client where the client end code is being shown to you. Here again it's the default port number that's being displayed, and we're going down to see how the input and output streams are being opened and how the synchronize this statement is working. And now I'm going to run that for you. I'm going to run both the files for you so that I can actually show you the demo. And now the client is started, the server is started off, and I'm going to open multiple clients here. I'm going to open up each client and give it a specific name here, because this is our team project. I'm giving each of them one of our team members' names, Akash, and then I would be giving out another name here, probably, yeah, Ganesh. Yeah, and I'm going to open another. I'm going to run the client once again. Yeah. And enter a name. And I'm going to run another client program. Yeah. And now we also have two kinds of features for this case, that is a private chat and a public chat. if you have to do a private chat, you could actually do it with help of a specific key. That is, when you press @ and type a specific member's name, the member would only be receiving your chat and all the other rest of the members would not see it. And when you normally type in something saying hi, hello, how are you, the whole team would be seeing it. For example, here hi all is being shown to all the users, and here what I'm doing is I'm starting off a private chat. That is, George has started off saying @Akash. That is only going to be to me. So that hi is only going to be visible to me and not the rest of them. There you can see that it's only being shown to me. So the rest both will not be able to see what George has been texting to me. So that's how you can maintain your privacy. Or if you want to do a chat or a post something public, you can do that also at the same time. So here I'm typing back to George saying hi, how are you doing, how is it going? And now when I do that, it's only going to be visible to George and it's not going to be seen by the rest of the teammates. See, there you go. It's not visible to either of them. It's only going to be seen between Akash and George. So the next case would be the conclusion. Ravi would conclude the whole presentation. I would give it out to Ravi.
Thank you, Akash. As for the conclusion, I would like to tell that ChattyCzar is a very powerful tool which uses Java socket API to connect to interact between server and client. Here we have, as shown by Ganesh, it's not the server and the client just doesn't communicate in text, but also in other formats such as shown in files. To the end, in case 3, we have demonstrated that all the threads have been synchronized so that no deadlocking or starvation is shown at any point of time. I would like to go ahead and also tell that this particular project has been hosted at GitHub. It's an open source project. Please, I would request every single one of you to go access this project, download, and enhance any services that can be done over this project. Thank you.